Welcome to Retrograde, the show where we
fill your dark soul with light.
This is episode number 37, and today we're going to be discussing Devil May Cry. My name is Jack Marshall. I'm joined today by Anthony Hobday.
Hello.
James McFadden.
Hey.
And special guest Mark Toole.
Hello.
I'm talking like this because there's lovely piano music in the background.
Is there?
Yeah.
No, there isn't. We decided against
That's
it.
weird. Are you planning to edit that in after the show, Jack? Should have told us about
We
that.
decided against
No,
the piano
I'll
music.
keep the piano in. I'll put the whole scene in the background.
Oh, cool, brilliant.
All the dialogue of Devil May Cry. Welcome back, you two. It's good to have you back.
You too. What? So Mark was here last week, was he, Jack?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, I can't
Get
keep
on.
up with the roster changes.
Jesus.
Yeah, Lizanne can't be here. She's got family something.
Family something.
Meal.
Oh,
I don't
sounds
know.
serious.
Well, we said it was your sister getting married last week, and it wasn't at all, was it? You were just on a holiday.
Yeah, correction.
I don't know how we got that wrong.
No, correction has been issued. My sister is not getting married.
Ever.
Yay! High fives. High fives.
You've
all
got a
round.
chance,
Brilliant.
Jack, it's fine.
Brilliant. Awesome.
How old is your sister?
Her age isn't important.
Not to me.
Old enough to get married?
No, her age isn't important because Jack wouldn't have a chance
Oh,
regardless.
right.
Old enough to get married in Dubai. How was Dubai? Did they have video games out there?
I didn't see any.
Straight to the point. As
I don't know.
always.
No, but that's actually something because, like, you know, like South America.
Yeah, they do,
barely
because
have video
I
games.
remember with PS Plus last month, Spec Ops: The Line was not in the Dubai version. So
Oh, yeah, it's true, yeah. That's true.
no, I'm not. That's not a joke.
Yeah,
They
that's
have
true.
to replace all the enemies with like something else, 'cause in case. Is it based in Dubai? Spec Ops?
Yeah,
I did.
Right.
I should say I did play through Spec Ops: The Line probably half a year ago now, and when I went to Dubai, it was almost identical.
Yeah. Especially the part where it's like there's a sand cavern and the entire city is like in the middle of that sand cavern.
Yeah, people were just
Like-
walking around inside those sand caverns and
Yeah.
throughout the ruined buildings.
Pretty much
and
one gigantic cavernous system of sand.
killing each other with M4s. Pretty much the same as the game.
Yeah.
It's like a documentary.
Very philosophical though. Very.
Yeah.
We've been up to James. Anything interesting?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it last episode, but obviously I wasn't here, so that didn't happen. I started playing Beyond Two Souls, which is a really contentious game, actually, because obviously loads of people are like, it's a movie, really, I hate it. Lots of people are like, interactive, blah, blah, blah. I don't really know where I fall on the spectrum, but
Between
I'm
those
enjoying
two.
it. Yeah, somewhere. But I mean, it's enjoyable. It's more fun than it would be if it was just a film, but less fun than it would be if it were more of a game.
I find most games are a bit more fun than if they were a film.
Well, some films can be fun.
I've only got one question for you, because
Yeah.
I haven't really watched any gameplay or anything.
Yeah.
How do you walk forward?
There's no acceleration this time. You just use the stick.
Oh.
And actually, it's kind of the control system's a bit weird because you've got two characters. You've got Ellen Page and then the Ghost Man. And the way that Charlotte and I have been doing it is I control Ellen Page and she controls the Ghost Man with her Samsung Galaxy S because she downloaded an app on it that lets you use like the touch controls to control it, which is weird and gimmicky and I think is stupid. But she gets to play at the same time, so it's quite
Future gaming.
convenient for me.
What if she gets a text message halfway through a really important scene?
Then everything.
Oh, anyway, what about? I was going to ask. Well, there's been controversy about it, isn't it? Like new cheat or something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
it
and
was,
there were like
yeah.
in the source files there were some naked models or something, and
Why
everyone
would
was
they
like,
leave that
I know,
in
exactly
there?
right.
And who are these gamers that get a disc and the first thing they do is stick it into their hard drive? Like, right, let's get every file out of here we can. Then. Like the person who found that must have been digging away and gone.
The
Yes.
the people who do that don't have that voice.
Let's find these new pictures of Ellen Page in here.
Yeah, well, I
She's
mean,
now
that's-
isn't she going to sue Sony for leaving those models on the disc? Or
Is
something?
she?
I gave you my
heard
naked
that.
models and you left them on the game
Jesus
disc.
Christ.
Well,
that'd be really weird. And I mean, people are getting all up in arms about it, aren't they? But in that game, you like possess people and kill them and make them shoot people in the head. I don't think a pair of tits are really going to affect whether your kids are damaged for life.
Do we have
or
to
not.
bleep that?
Nah, it's alright.
Okay, this is my rule, right?
Mammary glands would be better. In it.
Yeah.
if we could mammary.
This is
glands.
my rule, and it
Meat
applies.
baps.
It applies to pictures as well as this. If you make detailed 3D models of your naked body, they will get out somehow. So she shouldn't be complaining about the fact that people have found them. Just like if you take nude photos of yourself, they're going to find their way onto the internet. Just don't take the risk.
I know.
She shouldn't have stepped into that 3D scanner.
The weird thing is actually it happened in Heavy Rain as well. Like the
She
Madison
keeps making
model
3D
was also-
models.
But no, seriously, I mean, if you're on the fence about it and you're listening, get it. 'Cause it's good. And if you think you're going to enjoy it, you
and there's
probably
naked
are.
models on the disc. So if you,
Yeah,
if
well,
you dig away,
apparently.
you'll find a naked model of Ellen
Yeah,
Page.
If you
I know,
contact the the London builder Jack knows who gets those files off a disk, then you
that
can
guy's
find
a
them as well.
magician.
He can help you out.
Speaking of weird computer stuff, I've started looking into programming. Actually, I mentioned this to Anthony briefly the other day. I've started learning Python because it's a kind of snake, which are scary, and I want that kind of power at my fingertips.
Yeah, that's why
which
most
is
people
exciting.
Does the textbook you have a Python on the cover?
I don't have a textbook, Jack. We live in
Have
the
you ever seen
internet age,
programming
so-
textbooks, most boring looking covers ever? There'll be like
Yeah.
a monk on the
Yeah,
front or
they
something
have
like
those.
that.
A monk? Well, I'd buy that
Random
book. Come on, monks
There'll
are
just be like a
cool.
monk on the front that sounds, oh god, there's a fish on this one. It's like, oh god.
Those are the O'Reilly books.
Fishes.
They always have animals, I think.
I wish they were like back like in the 90s when there was like bits of like the Matrix code flying around the covers or like a spaceship crashing into a computer screen. That's programming books. That's what I want to read.
Cool.
Going well though? It's all smooth?
Yeah, I made a calculator. It can add, subtract, divide, multiply, and if you type in the word end, it'll close. Not because I want it to, but because it crashes. But still, it's multifaceted, so it's going well.
Can you make boobies on it by typing in like
oh yeah,
8000?
yeah. That was the first thing I made.
It also comes with naked models of Ellen Page.
yeah, definitely.
Mark went to Comic-Con, first ever
I did
one.
go to Comic-Con.
Yeah, on Saturday.
That doesn't fit with my picture of you as a person, Mark. Why did you go to Comic
Oh,
Con?
I'm glad it doesn't fit with your picture of me as a person.
Was this the MGM or
I
the
got
other
sorry
one?
to interrupt him. Sorry, like 10 o'clock in the morning, because I was in bed on Saturday. I get a text from Mark, and all it was just a picture of a guy with a 2DS. And Mark saying, "I can't believe someone actually brought a 2DS."
He was
Sick
playing it in the
burn.
queue. You know, I was like,
Of course he's gonna, because he brought a 2DS. He wants everyone
I guess
to
he's
know
got
he
to show it
brought
off.
a
Like, look
2DS.
how cool
Was
I
this
am,
the
my 2DS.
MGM or the London Film and Comic Con?
Is it MGM? I thought it was MCM.
Anthony's a connoisseur
Oh, yeah,
of
probably
Comic-Con.
MCM.
Yeah, the one at the XL.
MGM's the film
it was
company, isn't it?
The busiest thing I've ever been to in my life. I could not breathe.
I think MCM's better than the London Film and Comic Con, which, if they're listening, don't take it personally, but London Film and Comic Con is basically in a warehouse in Earl's Court, whereas MCM feels a bit more personal. There's carpet.
It was. I felt really out of place. There was like so outside. There were just people having a rave, all dressed up in Pikachu.
Yes,
onesies.
Which anime character were you dressed as?
I didn't have time
Homespark.
to.
Oh,
It was
okay.
Homespark.
When we were there, they were
Homestack,
playing
yeah.
techno Tetris theme music, and I loved it. So those raves are banging.
There's a lot. Overall, there were some good costumes. Yeah, there's some really good
yeah,
ones.
it's
There was
great
a Master Chief. There was quite a few Spartans actually.
Was there any Ellen Page at all?
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Loads of Adventure Time. There was one Judge Dredd, but most people were just turning up in like dinosaur onesies and Pikachu onesies, and I was like, that's just lazy.
That is very lazy.
It's like you've put as much effort in as I have coming in my normal clothes.
Was there the template like the Silent Hill box head guy?
No, yeah, Pyramid
There's
Head.
always
yeah.
one
Box
normal-
head, yeah. Box head. The guy with the pyramid for a head is called Box Head.
Eating like a Burger King under his. That was one I saw. He was sticking a Burger King underneath his box, going. I was like, oh god.
I don't think it's fair to say that they made as much effort as you when they had to do the one-click order on Amazon. That's at least one more click
How do
than you
think
had
I
to
got
do.
my clothes.
Also, I should point out that right now Mark is
probably
actually
already
wearing a
had them.
blanket. Like, that is all I can see.
It's cold up
It
here.
is cold up here. Yeah,
Did you have nerds touch you like when I went, rubbing up to you, going, "Ugh, sorry mate, I'm just trying to get past." Ugh, I hated it. Absolutely hated Comic Con. I'm never going to go.
I would go again.
Oh, I'd
I
never
would.
go
I'd
again.
dress up as well, but.
Bloody
What would you dress up as?
hentai pillows and all that
I don't know.
stuff.
A lot of the classic, in my mind, classic kind of costumes weren't being represented. There were no Thors. There was lots of lady Thors, but no normal Thors.
Weird.
I know. No
It's because
Aquaman.
nerds haven't got the muscles for Thor. No offense to nerds, all of you out there.
Yeah, all
no,
those
they
other
haven't got
guys
the
who are
muscles for
nerds.
Thor. It's like guys who could dress up as
There
Thor
were
aren't
no
going to go
muscly
to a
men.
Comic Con.
Yeah, no muscly men.
Like Hulks. Like I've never seen a
There was
good
never
Hulk.
no Hulk. There was no Captain America.
Oh, really? I wouldn't have been a Captain America. Was there Wolverines?
Loads of Wolverines. Terrible.
few
terrible
Laylas.
Wolverines.
Are you just angry with the lack of the Avengers from this thing? Those are the only ones that are missing.
Yeah,
Was
pretty
Iron Man
much.
not in attendance
and
either?
there was a lot of people speaking Japanese for absolutely no reason.
Really? Konnichiwa. Ho ho ho.
That's everywhere, all the time.
Any free hugs?
Oh, so many free hug
Japanese.
people.
That's
Like,
the weirdest thing at Comic Cons. Are people who just have signs that say
people-
free hugs.
It's like they didn't look
And they're never
inviting.
people that I want to hug.
Yeah, I don't look at them and think.
Why
I
did
will
you look at
actually
me
take
when
a
you
hug
said
of
that,
you.
Jack? Come on.
Especially because a lot of their signs, it's just like they got a sheet of paper out of a notebook,
Yeah.
and just written free hugs in biro, and they're just sitting there on the floor with their fedoras on, and it's like,
It's really weird. Like I don't know if it's a sort of thing that I don't understand, but
Yeah.
it really freaks me out why you would do that.
yeah. Plus, it's not like when people are hugging each other. Yeah, if they don't talk, they don't like have a conversation afterwards. They just hug and then leave. And that's it. That's the entire
No, if you-
transaction.
If you have a conversation, it makes it weird.
That kind of anonymous intimate
man.
interaction is
The next
terrible.
time
I
if I
wanna get
go
to know
to
more
one,
people.
I might find the weirdest like guys like you shouldn't be going, and I'm going to hug him and just hold him and just whisper in his ear, just go, I'm never letting go, and just stay there and not break it. Just see how long it goes on for.
I would have paid for this.
Yeah, you smell better in the day, something like that.
What does that even mean?
But
come
what have
on.
I been up to? I haven't done anything. Oh no, I won a pub quiz, which was fantastic. James, what's my pub quiz name?
Your pub quiz name is always Quiz Team Aguilera.
That's all right.
It's
Won
not
it,
always
Quiz Team
Quiz.
It's
Aguilera.
all if he gets
Well,
to decide.
Do you know what annoyed me? I said to my teammate, I went, give me the team sheets. And I wrote down Quiz Team. And they went, what does that mean? I was like, well, it was either that or Agatha Quiz Team. And they went, Agatha Quiz Team is much better.
That
I
is
was
much better,
actually. Or Quiz Team Agabusi. But there was a round, and the reason we won, I mean, there's no I in team, but I won it because of me. There's an I in win. One of the rounds was name the films from these quotes, right? And the quotes were things like, I once ate a census taker with some Chianti and liver and fibre beans or whatever, which is...
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. There was, do you want to hear the most annoying noise in the world?
Yes. What is it?
No. Like,
Dumb and Dumber.
We just did.
Dumb and
Jack.
Dumber. I'm trying to think. The reason I'm naming these is a good reason. Is you talking to me? Are you talking to me? There's no one else here. You must be talking to me.
Taxi driver.
Yeah, and they were getting quite easy. Have you? And then the final point for getting for 10 points was what do all these lines have in common? So another one was all these moments are lost in the time, like tears
Blade
in the
Runner.
rain. Now, have any of you worked out what all those have in common? Because no one in the pub got this
Were
apart
they
from
all
me.
based on books?
No, okay.
I know what it is.
What is it?
Only because you told me.
Oh, okay.
They're all improvised.
Yeah.
Oh,
No one knew that. All
I was going
those
to say
guys
they
were
all
on the
were
spot.
spoken by Jim Carrey.
I've seen him in Taxi Driver. Man.
He was
Hell of a
stunning in The
casting.
Taxi Driver.
Yeah. Do you know Robert De Niro's in a new film with Sylvester Stallone where they both play boxers?
Oh, really?
Like a comedy
God.
where they're both 70 and they're
That's
like...
grotesque.
I know, and it's basically meant to be Rocky
Well, wait until you
versus
see it.
Raging
Rocky,
Bull.
yeah, Rocky
And
seven,
I
yeah.
saw it and I was like, I can't believe this film. These poor guys, why they? But it could be hilarious.
He's also going to be in a film that I have to see based on the name. It's I think Morgan Freeman's in it. They go to Las Vegas as like one big last hurrah. It's called Last Vegas, which I think sounds brilliant. It's also ominous. I don't know what that's foreshadowing for the actors in it, but yeah, he's decided he doesn't really want to be in good films anymore.
He's doing
obviously.
a film with Arnie as well, and he's Sly, which we're going to probably go see this cinema.
Yeah, of
What's
course
that one,
we're
like
gonna go
The
see it, of
Cell
course we are.
or something like that.
It's
where he-
amazing.
He
Escape
gets
Plan.
locked. Escape Plan. Oh God, Escape Plan.
What is it with all these old guys? Honestly, come on.
Why don't you just
Why are they all
die?
appearing in films together? Like, what is the point of that? It's disgusting.
Well, you think
it's
old people
horrific.
shouldn't group together? They shouldn't hang around.
It
in
would be
groups of
fine,
three
but
or
they
more.
often like take their shirts off and they're all taking steroids. They've got those really big varicose veins that are as big as your thigh. It's disgusting.
Because the new Expendables 3 is going to have Kelsey Grammer's in that now. He's not even
That
joking.
well-known action star,
Yeah,
Kelsey
brilliant.
Grammer.
And there's someone else who joined onto it recently that was really bizarre. That was I don't know now. I'll have to look up in a second.
Skeletor.
Yeah, Skeletor's in it. He-Man's turning up. But yeah, anyway, we're here to talk about Devil May Cry 1.
Did
Not
we,
the one
first?
we skipped Anthony's.
Oh
personal
God,
life.
every
Yeah,
week. I'm so
come
sorry.
on.
Because you were gone last week. I did the same thing last week. Obviously, what everyone's listening for, the Paul Monaghan competition giveaway. Go, Anthony.
Yes, that's right, the Paul Monaghan giveaway. In the last episode, we were giving away the iOS version of Transport Tycoon.
Classic.
So we blasted Twitter with that old chestnut. And the winner is...
Go on.
The winner is Dwin95. So
Well done, Dwayne. Yeah, go
we're gonna,
Dwayne.
you are the next Paul Monaghan. We're
The
going
way
to
you
be...
made like a new social media form sound so old, like an old man goes, we blasted Twitter that old chestnut, didn't we? Who roasted that? We ran that up the flagpole.
Been around since like 2009.
I'm subverting the form. We're going to contact you on Twitter, Dwin95, and let you have the whatever it is that lets you access the game. I don't know if it's a code or...
It'll be a code. It'll be a code
Okay.
that you can unlock on iOS as long as you've got an Apple
on,
iTunes
Dwayne.
Store ID thingy.
Yeah,
on.
and in honour... Yeah.
When was Transport Tycoon released?
The original one was released in about '94 by Chris
So
Sawyer.
are we saying it was Dwyn? Dwyn might be younger than...
Assuming 95
Transport
refers
There's a
to
lot of
this-
people who are younger than Transport Tycoon.
Yeah, I just find that interesting.
Oh, Dwin
Sorry.
95. Sorry, if we just meant
Yeah.
Dwin. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just guessing his
How many
name.
Dwyns do you know?
I was like, anyone who entered could have been younger. Oh, because it was 95. So yeah, he's probably younger than the game. Could be. Well, I remember playing someone on Xbox Live and his gamer tag name was like something like Jonathan 2003.
That's
and I was like, good
terrifying.
lord. He whooped me as well.
You know,
And
you
then
can
he
put
had
any
sex with
number
my
you
mother.
want.
Huh?
You know, you can put any number you want on the end of your name.
Yeah, but you wouldn't put 2003.
Why? Yeah, why would you?
Of course you wouldn't. Everyone knows you don't put 2003.
No, you wouldn't go, that was a good year. Put that year down. I had a good year.
Maybe
that
it was a
year.
significant year for him. Maybe he kissed his first girl that year or something. You don't know.
Could have been. I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Maybe
so.
that's when he first
I
had sex with your
assumed it
mother.
was- I assumed it was. Yeah. Well,
I had
he's
a
been doing
friend-
it ever since,
yeah.
apparently.
I had a friend that used to update his email address every year, and it used to be his name followed by the year. I think he stopped at about 2004, so he was doing it from maybe like 1996 or 7 all
Yeah.
the way through to 2004.
When I created my first password email, it was Hotmail. I put like Jack Marshall in, said no, someone's got that. And I was like, I'll hunt him down, I'll find him. But I said, do you want this instead? And it was Jack Marshall APU, as in Apu from The Simpsons. And I was like 9, so I went, hey, that's awesome, I'll put that in. And now I'm stuck with it.
That was. I
Like,
thought.
could never-
I thought those were initials for something
you
like
can.
to do with your job.
No, but
can't
I've even put it to Gmail. I put Jack Marshall Apu, and like I can't like. And now I do job applications with Jack Marshall Apu, and they're like, why have you got Apu at the end? And I don't know. I need to get a degree in something where your letters are APU at the end.
You could be. Oh no.
Right, but anyway, the next thing I was going to say is, for the next episode, in honour of this episode, we're giving away Devil May Cry 4 for the PC. That'll be a Steam code.
It must kind of suck having won the previous competition when now the Devil May Cry 4 is on the table. Because I mean, not that I want to malign Transport Tycoon. I mean, you can listen to our Transport Tycoon episode to hear all of the maligning. But
Transport Tycoon, that's a new game, and it came out a couple of weeks ago. Huge reviews.
oh, whoa, cool, yeah,
Brilliant.
huge.
Too well, did it?
I don't know.
Massive
I didn't get to the
cult
score.
following already.
You played it Eurogamer,
Oh.
didn't you, Jack? What did you think?
It was really good.
Oh, really?
I took the business cards and everything. Chris Sawyer wasn't there though, and I was gutted because I wanted to like.
I heard recently actually that he coded all of the Roller Coaster Tycoon games in binary.
Yeah.
which is crazy.
assembly.
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 I don't think it was binary.
Oh wait, yeah, assembly, which is it's like close to the machine.
yeah,
Not
machine
quite.
code.
It's like machine code.
A really
It's
odd
not-
name.
yeah.
Zoom. I heard it was in,
I heard it 1100111.
I heard it was in Morse code. So I heard.
But
series of
we're gonna
clicks.
put a competition, the competition stuff on Twitter. If you retweet that, you'll be entered into our competition for Devil May Cry 4, and we'll announce the winner during our next
And what
episode.
platform is that on?
Steam. So you'll get a Steam code, and that'll be in 2 weeks' time.
What's your Twitter handle?
It's at Retrograde Show. If you're not following us, you can follow us on there and join the competition. You can be the next Paul Monaghan.
Getting very close to the big milestone of 1,000 followers as well, which is awesome. You couldn't fit them all in this room. Tell you that.
Well, you could, but
That sounds like a challenge.
Horrible. Yeah. It'd be a really disgusting.
We've got something very big planned for when we get 1,000 followers.
Really?
So you should listen
Yeah.
for that.
Well,
yeah.
we've kind of already ruined it because we're going to try and fit them all into this room. That was
Going to invite them all over.
How many of our followers
jump
get
the
in a
gun
room?
there. Yeah, okay, but we can continue now. I've done with
But
the
yes,
Paul Monaghan giveaway.
so make sure you look out for that tweet and retweet it. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. So today we're going to be talking about Devil May Cry, but before we do, let's have a brief blurb on the game from Andy Godoy from the Retro Asylum podcast team.
Devil May Cry is an action-adventure hack-and-slash video game developed and published by Capcom and released in 2001 for the PlayStation 2. Set in modern times on the fictional Malay Island, the story centers on Dante, a demon hunter who uses his business to get revenge on the demons after losing his brother and mother. The game was originally conceived in 1999 as Resident Evil 4, a sequel from Capcom's survival horror series. Due to staff feeling it would not fit the Resident Evil franchise, the idea was scrapped and was made its own story. Devil May Cry received prominent coverage in the video game media due to the impact it had in the action game genre. High overall scores from professional reviewers and has sold more than 2 million copies. It also spanned multiple Capcom-developed sequels and prequels, including a reboot the franchise in 2012 entitled DMC.
Thanks for that, Andy. And make sure to check out the Retro Asylum podcast over at retroasylum.com. And there will be a link to that site over on our show notes over at psychon.net/R37. Yeah, Devil May Cry. Oof, I've never played it before. James, you chose it. Why?
Well, I mean, why not? It was very influential. It was so influential. Like, I can't emphasize how influential this goddamn game was. It came out, I think, in 2001, right? So I would have been,
Yes.
8? I was 8 years old when I played this game. And just, you've played it now. Imagine sort of the intro. Imagine Trish riding into that shop on the motorbike, being all sexy with the skin-tight leather and stuff. Dante's just there eating pizza. This blew my mind as a child.
Was he
And,
eating pizza in that scene?
Yeah,
He's always eating pizza.
Always
That's
eating pizza.
the main
Always
thing.
eating. He's not always eating.
He
pizza.
is.
Basically a Ninja Turtle.
Just fighting giant
Come on,
puffin
he
things
loves
with like a
pizza.
pizza in his house.
There's a special button for it on the controller.
Well, there is what annoys
R1
me.
eats
There is a
pizza.
button that taunts.
Yeah, the right
I'm like,
trigger
stop
as well.
taunting and block, you idiot.
I think for the time it was released, it was really mechanically advanced. Actually, the gameplay flows so well. It feels amazing to play, and I think sort of in terms of gameplay and theme, like the aesthetic, it's influenced so many games. So I thought it'd be good to go and have a look and see if it was actually
Has it
terrible
influenced
or not.
so many games,
Really?
or is it just Bayonetta?
It's God Hand, the Ninja Gaiden, the new Ninja Gaiden games.
God of War, I guess.
God of
maybe.
War, definitely. Others, most combat
so basically
systems.
any
they're developed
3D
now.
hack and slasher.
Yeah,
sounds influenced by
absolutely,
Devil May
and that's a
Cry.
pretty big genre now.
Is it
Actually, there have been a lot of games.
Yeah, it really is. It's
Go on
kind of
then.
expanding.
There was that,
Go on then, name
Dante,
them.
was it Dante's Inferno? What was that
Oh,
one?
Dante's
Yeah,
Inferno.
that
that's
was
one.
weird because they let you kill demon babies, which I didn't think you were meant to be able to do in games, but maybe.
Yeah,
It's
they're
okay
demon
because they're
babies.
demons.
Chainsaw, Lollipop Chainsaw, because that was
yeah,
a
that's
recent
another
one
one
as
as well,
well.
isn't
Because
it?
Bayonetta had cherubs in it, and they're kind of babies, but they're angel
yeah.
babies.
Oh, so that's fine. They can't die then.
So if you can kill angel babies, you're allowed to kill demon babies. It just follows naturally, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't remember what I was going to say.
Brilliant.
Babies.
So yeah, I thought.
Cherubs.
It's actually one of the things that stuck out to me initially was the main menu screen. It says the title screen comes up and then it's like Devil May Cry in this really alluring voice, and that reminds me of Resident Evil, where it's like Resident Evil. And then I looked it up, and of course Hideki Kamiya worked on both.
Yes, I was going to say it for my trivia, but yeah, this game was birthed out of an early concept for Resident Evil 4, which they basically said juggling zombies in the air with guns isn't particularly scary, so what should we do? Oh, let's take the concept of this and make it into a new IP called
Replace the
Devil May
zombies with
Cry.
puppets, and we're golden.
Yeah, I didn't really understand.
Job done.
I've never played Devil May Cry before, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty goddamn hard. I mean, put it this way, the first hour of Devil May Cry was harder than the whole of GTA 5 for me.
Well, yeah, I
It's a
can.
very strange comparison.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like, because I started playing GTA 5, thought this is quite easy, and it was weird to go to the other end of the spectrum to play
Yeah.
Devil May Cry, and it was really hard. And I was saying to Mark before the show, but what I really liked about Devil May Cry, having never played before and playing it now, and I played the HD update version that I got for the collection packs. It was so cheap, it's only a tenner. Devil May Cry. How can I describe the game? It was. I said to Mark how if I said to my mum, explain to me what a video game is, she would go, oh, well, you're just jumping around and you're just slashing up people and killing people, and there's probably like devils and demons and stuff like that, and you're just jumping around shooting them. That's what Devil May Cry is. And it's shown even more that, and it really made me nostalgic because the intro and all the stuff, it's so, and there's no era of gaming I can call it, but it's so PlayStation 2
It's like
early.
a proper video game.
It's so Time Crisis and House of the Dead of like dialogue that's somehow really cool and yet terrible.
Yeah.
And so he walks in and she's like, okay, now I'm going to pick up this bike and throw it at you. And he goes, not today, woman. Shoots the bike. And then she goes, oh, you are Dante's son. She stands up and goes, I'm here to help you. So why did you lob a bike at me? Like, if it wasn't the guy, he would have died and she would have gone, ooh, not the right guy. Better walk away now. That's a bit awkward.
But it totally revels in that, though. It's doing it on purpose. Like, definitely, it feels right. Like,
But it reminds me again of Resident Evil, House of Dead, and Tigris, and I don't think it is doing it right. I think it's just they didn't have the processing power to really do fantastic storylines or plot or really
They didn't have the processing power to do storylines. Jack, do you know how books are written? It's not by computers.
Think back to things like House of Dead when it was like, gee, over there, and that sort of stuff. And Devil May Cry has this as
You
well.
were almost a Jill sandwich.
Exactly. And I
think it stems from the disconnect between what's going on screen and what's written for the characters to say. And I think it's just that at this point, games had advanced to the stage where people want something kind of gritty, like violent, something that can appeal to older people, but the dialogue is still very childish and basic and hasn't really sort of caught up.
But yeah, no, and it just made me laugh all the way through. And like my favourite line, which is that one about the darkness, I could have been dragged into your light, which is just I burst out laughing. But yeah, Mark's going to say he probably didn't like it, but he's been playing it non-stop.
True. Oh yeah,
Loved
yeah.
it. Loved it.
When I played Devil May Cry 3 when it came out. I haven't played number 4, and I haven't played this one either, or number 2. So I played 3, but none of the others.
Cool.
Brilliant. Yeah, so I've been playing this for I started playing yesterday, and I've played Yesterday and today, I got through to like mission 10 or 11.
I was lying in bed. It was about 12:30. And all I
Yeah.
hear was you going, "You goddamn dog!
Stop!
No!"
Yeah, it's made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside because it kind of takes me back to
2001.
a time when I feel it's like you don't get games like this anymore. Even the newer versions of this, like Devil May Cry 4, aren't the same. It goes to that thing where I was saying, Jack was saying, it's like a proper,
It's a
like
video.
stereotypical video
Yeah.
game. Everything about it is really gamey. There's no hand holding whatsoever. You can look at, there's information for you, but you have to go and look it up yourself. Jack didn't even bother looking at any
Do
of
you
the
know?
moves.
I was going to say, like in a TV show or a film where a character enters a virtual reality world to solve a crime or something stupid
Yeah.
like that, and they're suddenly in the world of a giant sword or something. The game they go into reminded me of Devil May Cry. That's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
what
totally.
it's like. But yeah, sorry, go on, Mark.
So it's proper gaming, but it infuriates me and makes me feel really warm and fuzzy at the same time.
Interesting.
Because I feel that there's an awesome game there, but the execution is really poor.
I agree.
Okay.
Camera work straight
Yeah,
away.
the camera is
It's like, what are you doing?
disgusting.
What are you doing?
Like, even in 2001, we had so much better camera systems than the one that's in there. Because it's basically fixed perspective, but it changes depending on where you are.
Yeah.
And in boss fights, that just...
Has the classic trope of bosses just reappearing again and again. Like, I love when one boss turns up and he goes, "I will crush you," and then he runs off when you kill him. Comes back about like 20 minutes later, goes, "I forgot all these other moves that I had. I'm going to use these now." And then you kill him again, and then he'll turn up again in about another hour and goes, "Okay, this is it now. I'm using my final form. I'm going to get you."
Yeah.
It just annoys me how it's like, just why didn't you do that the first time?
No, he's been training for those 20
exactly.
minutes.
It's like
That
a more
stupid
powerful
spider.
incarnation.
It's like the spider was like, "Okay, that was just a warm up in the church. I'm back now for the real thing." So, oh, for God's sake.
That's like, it's being self-referential again. It sort of revels in the fact that it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it feels like we were saying earlier, Jack, weren't we?
No
But it
idea
feels
what's
like
going
you've been dropped into this story, and it feels like this entry is like the middle entry. Like, this is number 2 in a trilogy.
Dante's like, "You again?"
Yeah, everyone's
And I'm
going,
like,
it's
"You
like
again?"
you're in the middle of the story, but it's the first one. It's like, how? I have no idea what's going on. I haven't been introduced to any of these characters, but they all seem to know each other. And they're all having, like, they already have these grudges and things like that. And it's like, oh, I don't know what's happening, but I'm loving it at the same time.
I've been a huge fan of this genre, and I would argue that things like God of War and Dante's Inferno aren't the same as games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta.
What makes them different?
I think the combat mechanics are what separate them, because really it's still running around in environments. And God of War is more accessible than something like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, because like God of War, you've got basically an
Bash X.
universal block button, which whereas blocking in this is more of a it's more of an art form to fight in Devil May Cry.
Was there blocking in this game?
There is a block. There's a move.
There's a dodge.
There was a roll move. I didn't
there is
find,
a roll.
I was
Yeah.
fully expecting just block, as in hold up my sword.
You know, see, that's God of War, and it's more forgiving. God of War is more about its story and cinematic excellence. You know, the set pieces.
There is
Devil May
a-
Cry is all about the combat and the experience, the viscerality.
Meatiness.
Yeah, the meatiness. But so I've been a huge fan of this genre for years, but without fail, almost, I prefer the newer entries in these kind of games to the older entries. I think that's the technical limitations.
The only game ever in this genre I've ever played was Bayonetta, and I knew it was going to be. I knew it was a good game because I got really into it, and I don't get into my hack and slash third-person games. And it's funny because playing Devil May Cry, even though I can respect the fact that I could definitely feel the influence of that on Bayonetta, Bayonetta felt so much more deeper and complex than Devil May Cry. That when I played Devil May Cry now, it felt almost quite like elementary. It was just like jump around.
I think-
slam.
I like that, though.
I didn't find as many combo moves and things like that to perfect.
I think when you're almost...
Yeah, but then that's a virtue of Devil May Cry. I mean, think about the other games in long-running series that we've done on the show before. It's kind of a virtue of Devil May Cry that it's even being compared to those games in a way that can kind of contemporize them both. Because, I mean, if this was Zelda back in 2001, what, that was Ocarina of Time, was 3 years old. Compare that to, like, Twilight Princess or whatever, the Skyward Sword, and that's not really, I mean, in terms of features, you're not going to expect that. But with this, obviously, it's being held up to a higher standard because it was such a trailblazer at the time.
I think when a game's focus is almost entirely stylish action, which describes Devil May Cry in a nutshell, because we don't really play it for the plot.
Well,
The
Speak for yourself, Andy.
Okay, well, I don't play it for the plot. I don't think most
I was
people
going
do.
for Magnus. I wanted him. I wanted his head on a plate.
But when that's the entire focus of a series, I think the further you get along in a console's life and like the more processing power they can throw at it, the better the game will be just by its nature, because you've got more flashy effects, more things you can do, more enemies on screen. Like the PC version of Devil May Cry 4, for example, which we're giving away this week, had a PC-specific mode where you could put a lot more enemies on screen that the consoles didn't have, just because they didn't have the processing power.
Pretty cool.
So that was the ultimate version, and that's the one everyone prefers because you could have that extra processing power to throw at it. And just because this is a PS2 game and an early PS2 game compared to the later ones.
It's really early, actually, because didn't the PS2 come out in 2001?
Yeah, this would have been very
Very close
early
to
on in the
launch.
PS2's.
Yeah, so I think even though
2000, I think maybe the PS2 came out.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
even though I love what it did, and there obviously weren't many games, if any, that did anything close to what it's done before it, the games that have come later are much preferable. So I've played all the way through Devil May Cry 4, DMC, Devil May Cry 5, Bayonetta, those sorts of games, but I struggle with the older ones just because they don't keep up with my expectations anymore.
Well, this kind of a lot of the stuff I was reading up on Devil May Cry was the fact that this kind of coined the genre of 3D hack and slash.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of games around a time that were kind of similar. There was one I remember before it, which I mentioned as well in the show, which was, I think it was a Capcom one, Onimusha.
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 Say it,
Sorry,
say it.
I can't say it. I'm going to say
Once
it again.
more.
Onimusha.
No, Onimusha.
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 Yes.
Yeah, you got there, Angie. What made it, so when you say, so what's now become the staple of the genre thanks to Devil May Cry? Is it just crazy jumping around in the air?
It's mostly combo systems because
Yeah.
games like
Yeah.
Onimusha don't really have a similar depth. Just like I think Onimusha is similar to God of War in that aspect because God of War's combos weren't as in depth as Devil May Cry's, especially when you get to.
They're not style based as well.
No.
I thought that was quite an innovative concept that they came up with, grading you
Yeah.
based on the
No, I
Style
really like
ranking
that.
is-
visual stylishness.
Style ranking is addictive.
Yeah,
And seeing that
absolutely.
crawl up to Triple S is, especially in the newer ones where I can, do it easier. Because the problem I have with these older games mainly is that they're way less forgiving, and especially with Devil May Cry 1, I'm not sure if they kept this up with 2 and 3. When you go onto easy mode, because sometimes I like a cakewalk just because I like to look at it rather than have to think about it. They make some move automatic, and I just hate that. So in Devil May Cry 4 and DMC, I'm pretty sure the easy mode, you still got full control. It's not made automatic, and you can switch automatic on or off, regardless of whether you're using easy mode. And I prefer that because that just makes everything easier, and you can
What
still.
stuff was made automatic in this?
In Devil May Cry 1,
It kind of does move.
There's
depending on-
there's an auto aim you can put on. So when you hold down right and he just walks along with his gun, he'll
Yeah, you
just
don't have
shoot
to-
straight at a person.
this
I think.
just
yeah.
this like does
Yeah.
moves for you
Yeah, it does
on your
move depending
behalf.
on the
right.
context.
So you can
Oh,
just
I did
mash.
not know
You
that.
can basically, it's a button mash mode. You can mash
Yeah.
buttons and it wins boss fights for you. So I kind of hated that because I wanted to make it easier, but I didn't want it to be child's play. I wanted to feel like I was in control, and so the later games are better at that.
I feel a little bit the opposite way in that I prefer the older style just because for me it's a little bit simpler. I'm not the best at these games. Like 3D hack and
No,
slash,
I'm not
I'm
either.
not very good at it.
I
at
really
all.
like them.
And when I was playing through 3, I found getting up to the higher styles like B and A, I could hardly ever got to that. But in this, I find it a lot easier.
It goes up to Triple S.
Yeah, I mean, but I
B and A.
didn't even get to that. Whereas I can get to S really
C.
regularly
Yeah.
with 1. I think that's just because it's a bit simpler and there's not as much.
Well, if they let you jump right to
it's
the
a bit
start
more
of
pure.
like if you lose a boss fight and if they let you jump right to the beginning of the boss fight, then I would be fine with the easy mode being automatic. I'd stick on normal, but since you have to replay a certain section, it just gets so tiring.
This picks up on something which I really hate about this game. I hate with a passion the yellow orbs. I hate them. I would rather the game didn't have them.
They let you
So they basically let you
Restart.
Well, yeah,
Right.
or try again.
Their lives.
restart
right?
at a certain
Yeah.
point rather than
But-
having to go back and.
I found that I would just restart the mission, so I'd just reload my latest save instead of using those. And that took me longer, so I would much rather have just not had the yellow orbs and just say, if you die, restart the mission. Because the missions aren't long enough.
harsh.
The missions aren't long enough. Or maybe I didn't get far enough through the game that the missions are that long. But the missions aren't long enough that you would need to have like a
I don't
checkpoint.
know. I remember when I was fighting the spider, and every time I ran out of yellow orbs, I'd have to do the whole bit where you run across the bridge and it explodes and you fight the skeletons.
That's like a couple of minutes.
I know.
That's really annoying though when you're doing 15 tries.
I don't know. I shouldn't have to keep proving myself against those skeletons.
On the harder difficulties as well, it does take quite a long time to just.
Maybe that's where they come into play. It just annoyed me. Maybe because I'm one of these gamers that I have to keep a good supply of those orbs.
Totally.
Yeah. So I will always just if I die close to the start of a level, I'll just say, "Oh, no."
So that's another oversight that I'm not fond of. Is not the technical limitations, but the game design limitations. Because there are things that they've changed about game design since, especially in the later games, that they didn't really think of before now. So they wouldn't have had as many checkpoints, for example, because they were trying to make it difficult. And they weren't giving as many concessions to people who weren't very good like me, but who still enjoyed the game.
Well, Sorry, were you finishing your point, sorry?
Well, basically, the game design has progressed as well as technology, and both help the later ones to be more enjoyable for me, so the earlier ones are a bit
I was going to quickly talk a little bit about the later games, because I never played Devil May Cry game, and there's been 5,
yes,
of which the order goes Devil May Cry 3, Devil May Cry 4, and then Devil May Cry 2, chronologically, sorry, not obviously released. They didn't release 3 first. And then
Star Wars did it.
Crazy Japan.
DNC, the reboot, has nothing to do with them. That's like a parallel universe of Dante, apparently.
It's also developed by a totally different company.
Yeah.
He looks different.
Ninja Theory did?
Yeah,
Ninja
they did.
DMC.
It's weird because they did Ninja Gaiden, right?
So, in terms of the fan base, and I was amazed, not amazed, but the fact that there's a HD collection for the 360 and PS3 kind of shows that the game must have quite a large fan base enough to make a HD collection on it. But I don't know. So what's the general consensus about? Is Devil May Cry 1 seen as one of the best? Or
yeah, definitely. Well, three is universal. Well, not universally, but 3 is generally considered to be the best.
2 is the worst, isn't it?
2 is by far the worst. I mean, I didn't actually mind 2 at the time, but I was probably 10 or 11. So
don't they change so much stuff in 2? I never played it.
Yeah.
Well, if you go by
wasn't there a hair issue that he changed his hair in the third one and people went
the
nuts
fifth
about
one.
Oh, in the new one, he's got black short hair, which is
they redesigned him.
Oh, yeah, redesigned him. I actually didn't mind his redesign.
I thought it was a bit weird because he has a British flag on his jacket.
Oh, really?
So that's Britain hardcore.
No, it's punk. It's punk influence.
Yeah,
it's got a bomber
it's a
jacket.
bit-
So sorry, which one's regarded as the worst?
2.
Well, okay, no, this is a bit of a contentious issue.
2.
2 was originally regarded the worst, but the redesign made people so some people might say 5 just because they don't like
who's
it.
actually that's argument. 5 is good.
I know, I'm
It's a
saying
good
it depends on whether you ask a fan of the series, in air quotes, or someone who hasn't really played any of them before and doesn't have that preconceived notion of what Dante should look like. Because I really enjoyed DMC, the new one.
Yeah, it's a good game.
This is going to sound ridiculous, but Devil May Cry, the fact you say 2 is regarded generally as one of the worst, when it's kind of normally sequels always kind of improve upon them. But I kind of find it surprising because because the mechanics are so kind of easily borrowable to the next games in the series.
Yeah.
How could it have got worse?
It wasn't to do with the mechanics. I think mainly people had a problem with the fact that there was a second playable character who was really bland and uninteresting.
Virgil.
No, that was from 3. People liked that.
Oh,
This was
okay.
This was a woman, I can't remember her name, and she had knives and stuff. It was a bit rubbish. And the level design was so bad. There were massive, just open chasms. With, 2 guys at the end of a bridge.
Well, I was going to say
5 minutes.
one thing I loved
to.
about Devil May Cry was the fact that I felt like I was the master of the environment by just jumping off the walls a nutcase.
Yeah, totally.
And then you get a move later where you can actually make a platform when you're in midair and jump off that as well, a red circle. And for an early game of 2001, it really felt like you were kind of mastering your environment, jumping around it, which is really nice. It's quite cool.
Well, the platforming could get a bit tiresome.
The platform did,
Yeah.
but what I mean is it was really nice to feel that the environment, the walls were of a benefit to you. They were almost like an extra weapon to you to jump off and do.
You can
things
tell
from.
they made it with that in mind.
You never
didn't
got trapped in a corner. I mean, the enemies tried, but you could just bounce out.
It was
Nice.
really, they kind of introduced a mobility to the combat. It was before this, kind of games tended to have you just standing in one place and slashing dead, moving to the next one, slashing dead. But this one, you were encouraged to move around and leap around and stuff and just keep it going.
think I just want to say that I think Bayonetta basically perfected mobility in combat, especially the feel of it, because they have a dodge move in that where you kind of do a break dance move along the floor and you start bullet time if you get it right.
Yeah.
So that just feels nice, and it feels nicer than what they do in Devil May Cry.
I loved Bayonetta, and I love the fact that it carries on the religious iconography of Devil May Cry, which I find really great. And that's kind of another thing I was going to come on with Devil May Cry that I do love. Even before I played the game, I love the name of Devil May Cry. I think it's the greatest video game name ever. Honestly,
good one.
Devil May Cry. I don't know what it is. There's something about, I don't know, taking English words and putting them in sentences when they don't really go together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you do it a lot, Jack.
No, but Devil May Cry, it doesn't make any sense. I know there's a line in the end, near the end of the game when he goes, "No, only humans cry. Devils won't cry, or devils can't cry.
Devils never cry. I think.
Devils
but
never
also
cry,
his shop
and-
is called Devil May Cry.
Yeah, the shop's it. But
It's a bar,
Devil
right?
May Cry is Devil May Cry in the Divine Comedy? Is that ever mentioned in? Has anyone
I
read that
don't
book before?
think
I
so. No.
I just think it's a really cool name. It's kind of like
Isn't it a take on Devil May Care?
like Only God Forgives. Oh, that's another really good name. That's a film, but like there's something about those names. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're called. But I think anyone else, Devil May Cry, I think it's a good name.
Gibberish.
Just me?
Yeah.
Really. No, yes, it's a good
name.
name. It's cool. Sounds
What's
good.
a better video game name? There aren't any.
I don't really
Cry.
think about it. That's why.
Halo is
Call of Duty.
Resident Evil's a good name for a video
Resident
game.
Evil's a pretty cool name, actually.
That's the
Yeah.
same guy. So.
Yeah, I want to for a second go back to Bayonetta.
I want to do more names.
Go on. I couldn't get into it. The gameplay was really good. This is one of the few instances in which a good game was kind of inaccessible to me because I just can't get over the sexism. I don't want the main character to be this sort of this sexy undressing witch with voluptuous breasts who, in order to attack, has to get undressed and show a bit more skin. It's so it's typically
In a very powerful way, though.
I mean, in the way that
She's a strong, independent woman, too.
in the way that Devil May Cry fetishizes kind of American tropes of the action hero in certain ways, like he's always eating pizza, nothing phases him, he literally gets stabbed in the chest in the first scene and just walks it off. Bayonetta fetishizes kind of women, and it's really horrible.
I think there's worse. I think Lollipop Chainsaw was a bit
totally,
worse.
yeah.
But she carries around the
Wasn't
head
that
of her
also the
boyfriend.
same guy?
Yeah.
Was it?
Silicon,
No, I
Silicon
don't think
Knights.
so.
Silicon Knights. Is that not their name?
I thought that was like
No.
Shinji Mikami or something, like jumped in. And,
Silicon Knights did not do Lollipop.
They made that one really terrible game that everyone wanted to be amazing, but I can't remember the name. It was like
Who
an
was the
RPG
developer
hacking
of
slash.
Bayonetta?
It was Hideki
Wasn't that-
Kamiya. It was Platinum Games,
I thought
wasn't
that
it?
was
Platinum Games. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Platinum Games. Sorry, I'm thinking, who's Silicon Knights? What do they do?
They made actually, yeah. I want to find
did
out because
Two
it was
Human.
something. It flopped massively.
Two
No.
Human was Silicon.
Yeah, Two Human.
But no, they also made Eternal Darkness, which
Yeah.
is
Oh, that
Great
was
game.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so they have a pedigree, I suppose.
Weird leap then.
Sorry, I don't know how I got to Silicon Knights. Yeah, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, Eternal Darkness, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, and Two Human Trilogy was Silicon Knights. So miles away from who I was thinking of. But yeah, no, Bayonetta I think is fantastic, and I don't like hack and slash 3D games, and I thought Bayonetta.
Does
was
it not
awesome.
grate on you though? Like the.
It got a little bit repetitive, but
No, I don't mean the gameplay.
No,
I mean
means the imagery.
Oh, the sexism? Oh no, I can part with that. It's fine. That floats my boat.
It just feels weird that something that's meant to be so sophisticated and sold so many copies is kind of it's like a 12-year-old's.
I did find it weird. I found
fantasy.
it more weird. I didn't mind the general just gameplay of her jumping around. It was when there were cutscenes that were very like, oh, let's just have a close up of her ass for a
Yeah.
bit.
Is
it like
There
that?
we
Really?
go.
I've
Pull
never-
back
I've
in.
never played Bayonetta.
Like she'll
It's
ride a
cringe.
motorbike, it'll crash, and she won't just like lie on the floor. She'll lie with like her breasts in the air, going. Woo.
Wasn't there
It's
a
like,
bit of controversy because in Bayonetta 2 she's cut her hair or something like that. She's changed her hairstyle and now has a bob.
What is their hair and these like 3D hack and slash? They love their hairs, don't they? Mental.
Who made No More Heroes? Do any of you know?
Isn't that Killer 7?
Yeah, it was. I
Oh,
think
no,
it was the
that's-
same.
that's
It was the
another
same
game.
dev. That was the game, but I think they made.
Clover, wasn't it? Something? Was
I
that Clover?
don't know,
They
but they
make
recently
God hands.
Suda
released.
51.
Oh,
was the
yeah,
song
yeah.
behind all that stuff.
They recently released a game that's meant to be terrible, but it was also in the similar vein to Bayonetta, very sexist, and it stresses me out a bit that Japan is still releasing these games that have such a terrible image of women. Like, I don't get it. Sort of, the industry really needs to be moving away from that sort of stuff. So screw Bayonetta, basically.
I can't type fast enough to find out because I've got here that the developer of No More Heroes is called Grasshopper
Oh,
Manufacturing.
Grasshopper. Yeah. They're shut now, aren't they?
Well, they're all kind of moving around a lot. I think Grasshopper was involved in
I thought it got absorbed into other studios.
Beautiful Joe as well.
Yeah. That has.
that was
ties with,
Clover.
Yeah, Dante and Trish are both in
that
there.
was
Like,
Clover,
I think
whatever.
the game. So they also made Grasshopper Manufacturing also made Lollipop Chainsaw. I think the game you're talking about is Killer is Dead.
Yes,
That's the new one that's come out. And yeah, that kind of gratifies women.
Yeah, it's very.
Sorry.
That's not really a phrase.
I think it's
Jack,
like
but-
it's a very
Gratifies.
Japanese thing, though. I think.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. That's kind of. I feel like people should be making efforts to move away from that, though. It's like saying that sort of ignorance of the world at large or violence is a very American or Western thing. Like, we can easily make it not.
Oh
be.
no, true.
So going back to my going back to one of the first things I started with. I really like the style of Devil May Cry. And I can't remember many games before this that brought religious iconography in so strongly. Come on, like
Doom.
Well, Doom, I guess, I guess
Hexen.
Doom did, and
Well,
Quake.
that
and
was all
those ones,
satanic.
but
It wasn't so religious. I mean,
it was
I get
something.
that
There was
Satanism's-
something like Bayonetta does it a lot better.
Do you
but
just
like
mean
the
Gothic?
angelic. I mean, I remember there was a game called Messiah, I think, where you play a baby that can take over people's bodies.
Messiah,
Remember that
I
game?
remember
It was kind of like that. But I was going to say, so we were talking about the style of the game and kind of like how he's always eating pizza. It's kind of, I don't know if he's
Yeah.
making fun of America or if he's making fun of like B movies.
I think it's an homage to
Like-
America and B movies and stuff.
But even like the fact
They
it's,
love it.
it's set in a Gothic castle called Melee Island, which confused me because it's like Monkey Island, done that first, get original. We could have named it anything else. And like the whole style of the game was really weird. In I don't know if it was rushed or I did it on purpose. Like we were saying how. I don't know if you guys know. Some cutscenes would have subtitles, and
some
others didn't.
Yeah, some people have
Yeah.
subtitles, some don't. It's like it must be horrible if you're a deaf gamer.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what's going on. It's like,
I like how your voice slightly became more considerate there as you said deaf gamer.
Okay.
I was about to say blind game.
In hearing impaired, I don't know.
But even like,
Yeah.
so I've got like the opening intro, which we both burst out laughing. It's like fire in the background, and he
they're
goes
not
like,
listening.
2 millenniums ago there was a war. Brilliant, already hooked me. And it's his name was Sparda, which is a terrible name.
Sparta. It's obviously meant to,
Sparta.
it's like a Japanese thing on Sparta. Like they've obviously just pronounced it wrong and written it out that way.
He became a legend, the legendary Dark Knight, Sparda.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
I mean,
supermarket.
they must have been on quite a few drugs when they were coming up.
quite a few.
Quite a few. Most of the game to me, although most of the game to me seems like they were making it up as they go along, especially in terms of.
Well, they're good at it.
Well, yeah, they are good at it. I mean, especially in terms of things like level design, because there's a lot of things where it's just like when you pick up the second sword. I can't remember the name. Begins with A.
Alistair.
Yeah, when you pick up that's just like at the end of. Thank you. It's just at the end of a corridor.
Alistair.
Where normally I would expect a new weapon to be. It would be quite a big event. Whereas that's just like
in a shrine.
Yeah, start of a mission. Yeah, start of a mission, go down a corridor, and it's just a good sword.
Yeah, there were times where like he would just suddenly get stabbed or something, or he'd get electrocuted. He'd go like that bit when you walk across the bridge, and then the bridge just explodes, and he gets struck by lightning. I was like, what just happened? Why did that happen? And then I'm underwater now. I'm fighting skeletons.
Yeah, and
underwater.
also there are like,
Like,
floating skulls and stuff. It's so unrealistic, guys. Come on.
No, but like in a normal game today, they'd be like something like, "Oh, what happened there then?" But no, he just falls in and goes, "Here I go, I'm Dante. Off I go." Slash 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 slash.
It's all really. It just seems really quite disjointed, but it works.
I think the Japanese video game industry has a defining characteristic of surrealism in general, but
Yeah.
it's a different
Oh,
surrealism
no,
from
yeah,
like
it's
film
different.
surrealism.
Yeah.
And I think people appreciate it because of that, because if you don't understand why they've put that design in, it makes it more interesting and exotic.
I
Like,
agree. Yeah, it made it better for me because I didn't know what was coming. Now, normally when you're going through a level, you can tell what's going to happen.
Yeah,
like you can
yeah,
see where
totally.
the gates are and things like that. But with this, it was just kind of I have no idea what's going to happen.
And the
when I
opposite
go
end of
around
the spectrum
corner.
is something like Call of Duty, where nothing really surprises you.
Yeah, yeah,
It has
yeah.
nice set
Yes.
pieces, but it's not like I never thought this would happen.
Well, I don't know. There's that one moment in Modern Warfare 4 where it's like,
Oh, the
yeah, spoilers, but yeah, you know.
Shoot, dog.
I love one thing Devil May Cry. I love when bosses turn up and you just go, "What the hell is that thing?" I love when, but there's that giant griffin bird thing whose face looks like it's just
It's like a
exploded,
predator face.
and it just lands, and it's like, "Are you the son of Sparta?" And it's like, "What the hell is that?" It looks like an artist, like the development studio, who's just got all his polygons in his texture, just got blah into a big blob, and then gone, "There you go. There's some arms, there's some legs. Make it a little bit anamorphic, and then go, he's all over the show." It's like, what was that thing? But yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Oh, I
It's all
quickly.
about bosses. It reminded me of Gunstar Heroes.
Yeah.
Constant bosses all the way through.
It is constant bosses. There's always something going on, which is cool.
I think that's a pretty common characteristic in Japanese games as well.
Yeah.
Because they have boss modes and things in a lot of Japanese games, boss runs. And it kind of ties into shoot 'em ups because they have a lot of mid-level bosses and end-level bosses.
Actually, it does. Yeah, it does remind.
Yeah,
me
they're big on the
quite a lot,
bosses.
actually.
It's a lot of the game actually reminds me of Dark Souls quite a lot, which was pretty big on the boss. It makes sense.
I want to make a quick point about the beginning of the game because when I first started playing it, when you first start playing it and you come to the island, you walk in the castle and
She buggers off.
yeah, woman goes away.
Doesn't
And
bugger off, she
the
leaps
first thing
into
you
the
do
mountains.
is you have to collect orbs to open the door, the red orbs. And at first I was like, "What the hell is this? Like, why is the first section of the game
It's frozen demon blood.
basically like a puzzle section?" But then I thought actually that's really clever because it teaches you about the whole idea of moving around,
Yeah, yeah.
and using the environment to your advantage in a really, really good way, in a really organic way.
And also the fact that orbs are hidden in random
Yeah,
places.
exactly. It teaches you a lot of things without telling you anything. Like I explored that area all by myself. I managed to get all of those orbs. Yeah, thank you very much. Although, having said that, the way it introduces movement to you really well, but the way it introduces combat to you, I think, is horrible.
Really?
Because it just stuffs you. Having let you be in a wide open space, the first enemy you see is like in a room the size of a broom cupboard.
Yeah.
I had to just play around with buttons. I was looking like, the first thing I tried to do was, okay, this must be attack. And then he suddenly, like, he layers up to him with his, like, come and get me move. I was like, no, don't hit him. And I was like, and then what got me, I had to jump in the air to shoot, which I thought was really strange. I was like, I've got guns, just shoot. And I didn't realise you have to hold down RB on the 360 controller and then press blue. And I think there was a face button. I think it was yellow, Y, wasn't even used on the face button. Or maybe it's B or A, or one of them was not used. And I was like,
Y is chop.
Is that what it's called? Official chop.
Yeah, chop.
Would you like to hear some trivia? Oh, we haven't talked about music, actually, because I don't think I did love about the game. Music, I think, is fantastic.
Did you say that was the only thing you liked about the game?
I know, but I thought it was the strongest point. The music is
Yeah,
proper
the music
techno,
is
especially the
pretty
intro,
good.
like, let's do this. Devil May Cry.
It's weird because actually in a lot of the later games as well, they incorporate lots of kind of choral, religious sounding music into it, which is quite cool because it has then the techno, like metal stuff underneath. Kind of it contrasts well. But yeah, the game, it sounds beautiful.
The extension of that is that the latest game, DMC, uses a combination of Combi Christ and someone else I can't remember the name of right now for their music, and it's
One Direction.
that was it, yeah, One Direction.
One Direction.
1D we call them in the industry, in the
1D,
biz. But it was such an interesting choice just because it felt that much more stylish to me, and I think using techno music while you're beating up puppets is also a really stylish decision that Devil May Cry sort of championed.
Trivia!
That sounded a bit weird there, Jack. Did something weird happen?
That's not me talking, that's my little sound clip that clipped over there. Do you want to hear it again?
Sound
Hold on.
pipe.
Let me play. Trivia! There you go.
Identical.
Identical. Yeah, so we already said that Devil May Cry started as an early concept for Resident Evil 4. Game designer Hideki Kamiya,
Yeah.
good guess, had finished working on Resident Evil 2 and was planning the next game. The working title was Resident Evil Team Little Devil. Sounds good. But whilst researching medieval Spanish architecture, he soon changed the concept and premise of the game, which, with more of a focus on survival horror, he directed and released Devil May Cry instead.
That's actually really lucky because Resi 4 is one of
Fantastic.
the best games of all time.
The enemy juggling mechanic was born from a glitch that accidentally allowed juggling in Onimusha.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Well done.
The glitch was fixed before Onimusha's release.
Just say it normally, Jack.
But it was so good that Capcom added it to the original Devil May Cry because they thought it was fantastic.
Also, Onimusha was developed by Bungie, which is weird.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know why that's here. Did Capcom publish it?
Probably.
I don't know. Should have known this, but yeah. PS2 game version of the game sold 2.2 million copies. It's not bad.
That was a lot back then, actually.
The
Financial failure now.
Yeah.
The name of the two demon children born from Sparta, Dante and Virgil, are based on obviously characters Dante and Virgil from Dante's Divine Comedy,
Yeah.
which I was going to buy and read, and I realised it's a really big book. So
It's also really impenetrable.
It's like
Yeah,
is it like a poem?
Yeah.
yeah. It's kind of like the Odyssey. But
I was really hoping the whole
Italian.
game was going to be based around it, but it's not at all.
No.
It's like just literally
Dante's
names.
Inferno, the game, however, not really, kind of.
Well, most Christian mythology is based on Dante's Inferno because he went into a lot of detail about
He was
heaven
there,
and
man.
hell. So most of that angel demon stuff is Dante.
Yeah.
So the Devil May Cry series altogether has sold over 10 million copies worldwide, with Devil May Cry 4 as the franchise top-selling title with 2.6 million.
Am I giving it away?
I'm not giving it away.
Yeah,
What are you
giving
on?
away the most common of
Yeah.
the franchise.
And Dante was set to appear in Soul Calibur 3, but he did not make it into the roster due to development constraints.
That
So
would've
they
been so
added
good.
templates to the make a character model for both Dante and Virgil, so you could basically curate him, but you wouldn't know all his moves and stuff like that. And last one I said about Devil May Cry reboot released by Ninja Theory, new developer, in January 2013. The game is set in a parallel universe where the player takes control of a young Dante and exploits him as a young and he exploits him and he exploits of him as a young demon hunter. The game is not related to any of the numbered games. And did I already say this? How the games go? So in order,
Yeah,
chronology,
you've done
go
this.
3, 1, 4, 2.
It's crazy. It's madness.
Mental, I tell you. But now we get into the retrograde.
Wait, 3 is
there
first.
was one more trivia that Mark found today. It was far more interesting than all of that.
It's not that interesting.
I thought it
Oh,
was.
come on.
It's not. When I was playing it, I thought that considering it's mission based, all the mansions slots together quite well. And it turns out that it was originally going to be open world, so it'll be like a Castlevania style game.
Oh, wow.
So you'd be able to go everywhere. Like it wouldn't be mission based. But then they decided late on in development that they needed to split everything up A, because of the difficulty, and B, to make it go a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So you
Speed is
lost
important.
it.
That's cool.
Yes. So they split it into missions, and that's why it all seems like it links into each other really well.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's cool.
Because originally you could go around anywhere you want. Well, not anywhere you wanted,
cool.
but
Did you say that 3 is first chronologically?
yeah.
That's strange because 3 has the most in-depth combat system, so he apparently forgot everything he knew between that and 1.
It's called Devil May Cry 3, subtitle Dante's Awakening.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. He
Does
peaks
wake
at
up
the
a lot,
beginning of that
And
one.
subsequent forgetfulness. But they couldn't fit that on the box, so they didn't put it in.
Well, I didn't get the whole thing about how when he's in his thing, he's like, they're like, people are phoning, and he's going, no, we're closed, it's 9 o'clock. And I was like, no, what kind of bar closes at 9 o'clock? So I don't
It's
even know
not a bar, dude. It's like
I think it's a bar.
Yeah, it's a front for something. And then he was like, they didn't say the password again. So what's this password? I didn't know. Mental. I thought he was just like a caretaker or something.
No, he's like a demon hunter, dude. That's the whole thing. If they say the password, he'll kill the big bads for them, but they didn't. So he's like, no, mate.
Oh, so he's got like he's like a noir style.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
That's another. It's like a pastiche of elements from things. Pastiche.
I think I always assumed it was a bar.
Pastiche.
I always assumed it was a bar. Devil May Cry would be a great name for a bar.
Yeah.
I'd drink in Devil May Cry. Fancy a pint down Devil May Cry?
Pint of devil's piss.
Probably
AKA
some
Budweiser.
Hobgoblin and stuff like that in there. That'd be
Not
good.
if Dante's there and Trish is throwing bikes at him.
I don't know. That'd be alright.
It's a bit rough.
A lot of bars have bikes in there.
Let's go to the windmill.
We just see us in that scene at the start, just in the corner, going, bloody hell, mentally here.
Pints are cheap, so we'll stick around.
He's just left the bar open.
We can pour our own drinks. I found the tap.
Retrograde. Okay, James, how are we going to grade this one?
Weapons, axe.
If the game had bought a ticket to Comic-Con and then dressed up as a fictional character and went to Comic-Con, what fictional character would this game be?
I've got one.
And it can't be anyone from the game.
Oh, I haven't got one. Why don't you go first?
It would be Joseph from Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Clean coat.
Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah.
Because it's
They
all
both have
colour and all
coats.
fancy and a bit showy. But like not much going on underneath. Gets thrown down a
He
well.
had a lot going on, didn't he?
Dude.
That was a really bad
Very
joke, but
strange thing
I
to
just tried to
say.
think of something that was really flashy, and for some reason I thought my first thought was a Teletubby for some reason. But yeah, Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat, because it's all about the aesthetics there. But there is actually a really touching story underneath, because didn't he get thrown down a well by his contemporaries because his coat was too bright?
Oh yeah, that's right. His brothers. His brothers hated
His
him.
brothers threw him down a
Why
well.
wouldn't they just get rid of his coat?
It's kind of like, well, I don't know, but they
Throw mud on him or
you know, it's really shiny in its thing, but it's also got quite dark undertones in there as well. Quite
Makes
a
people
message.
jealous, much like the game.
Yeah, and there's some great music as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat,
cool. Okay, I'm
which would
gonna
be
go with,
weird to see at a Comic Con, but yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna go with Neo from The Matrix because it's a bit cringe. It's been done before. It's very sort of teenage boy aesthetic and stuff. But if done well, it's pretty cool. And I mean, you've got to have it there eventually. It's inspired a lot of people to dress up, so it makes sense for the person who's dressing as Devil May Cry to go as Neo. You see, there's a correlation there. So there we go.
Does it have to be a video game character?
No, just a character.
Okay, I think he would go
Yeah,
as...
Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yeah, I can say it. I can speak.
Also, he swore.
What?
So you have to beat that.
No, I didn't.
You
Joseph
said the S.
is a
No, you
name.
said the S word.
Also,
swore.
Technicolor is a
Snake?
trademark, so I might have to bleep that out as well.
I think if it was a trademark, they wouldn't be able to...
No, it actually
Do they have to
is-
pay for the rights?
It's actually a trademark. Whenever they put Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat on posters, they have to put a little R above the Technicolor.
In editing, place something in between those words, like some kind of
you
sound
saying
clip.
R in a circle.
TM.
R.
Trademark. Well, I mean, Retrograde's pretty trademark. TM. After
Definitely not
Retrograde.
trademark. If it is, it's not by us.
I think he would dress up as Sherlock Holmes. One, because I don't think people dress up as whatever they see themselves as, because that's not the point of dressing up at
Meta.
Comic Con.
Well, it'd be a bit boring
But-
to turn up to Comic Con as you. I can't even
Dressed as sadness.
That's the point. If
I'm depression.
I'm saying if in real life you're a badass action hero and you go dressed up as a badass action hero, it's like you haven't really dressed up, mate. So he would go Sherlock Holmes, but also switcheroo because people don't really realise that Sherlock Holmes is an action badass. So he's just a different kind. And Dante's basically solving a mystery while he's in that castle. So
Solving a mystery.
The mystery of who
Yeah.
left all of these monsters unkilled.
yeah, he's solving the mystery of his father, and I don't know.
cool.
where the swords came from, why they're flying through the air on their own. So he's doing that just like Sherlock. If Sherlock Holmes was in that castle, he'd do all the same stuff.
The story is that the god Mundus or something,
Mundus.
the bad demon, is opening up the portal again, and he's the son of Sparta, so he has to stop him, which is pretty lame.
He's got to solve that mystery, gang.
Also, Anthony, I'd like to suggest that you're choosing that primarily because you just found out that Dante works in like a detective type agency.
I didn't even consider that, but that does tie in well. Thank you. It validates my choice more. So yeah, but also because I love Sherlock Holmes and I love Dante. So
What's your favourite rendition of Sherlock?
Benedict.
the books?
The books. Are you kidding me?
No,
They're really badly written.
Woohoo! Okay, we'll save it for Sherlock grade. But I had some things to say about that.
I didn't know that Sherlock Holmes died when I thought he died when he went over the falls.
Spoilers.
Oh, come on. He went over the falls with Moriarty. Everyone knows that. But I didn't. He came back about like 10 years later.
Yeah.
When basically what's his face just went a bit write more books.
Have you seen
Nah,
Sherlock?
everyone was
Jack?
calling-
I have seen Sherlock. It's
Then you know at
fantastic.
the end,
Yeah.
obviously,
Everyone
that references
was-
the book.
Benedict's great in that.
He was actually intending to kill him off, and everyone was requesting that he write
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So he brought him back.
You
to the
realised he
page.
loved
Sir Arthur
money.
Conan, sold out, first ever sellout.
Yeah, Mr. Doyle, Dr. Doyle.
At least Rudyard Kipling stood his ground,
Professor
didn't do
Doyle.
Jungle Book 2. You know, everyone wanted Mowgli to come back, but he didn't do it. He stood his ground and went, "No, I'm not. I'm Rudyard Kipling. Get out of my house." That's what he did.
Why were they allowed in his house?
Ain't gonna happen.
Anyway.
Mark.
I'm going to follow with detective theme, and I'm going to say Batman.
Oh, Batman is good.
Very stereotypical, very teenage boy, as you were saying, James. Very flashy on top, but it's got a lot of stuff going on underneath.
Yeah.
Hard
Mostly
rippling
muscle.
muscles. Yeah,
Very hard.
Rippling.
yeah, rippling they are.
Oozing with
Bulging.
muscle.
You could
Bulging.
grate cheese on those abs.
Good.
That's what I got.
Fall asleep
Bacon
in
egg
his
on that
arms.
bonnet.
Yeah, you could. I don't know. You could.
Bounce a quarter off those abs.
Oh, I want to say, but Batman with nipples on the batsuit. It
Naturally.
has to be cheesy.
That's very Dante.
Very
Yeah,
Dante.
Very Dante.
Cool. Okay. Batman, Sherlock, Joseph, Technicolor Dreamcoat, and what did you say?
Neo. Jack.
Neo. That'd be a
Neo.
good pub quiz.
He
thing.
does have a knee-length coat, jacket, just like
Yeah, they've
Neo.
got kind of similar coats.
Yeah, they've got a similar style.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed the show, you can visit our website at retrogradeshow.com. You can also go to psychon.net/R37 for the show notes. We'll also have a link to the Retro Asylum, guys. So thanks for doing that intro for us, Andy. And also don't forget to go over to iTunes and pop a review down for us, because we'll send you a free badge if you do.
And if you want to
yeah.
enter the competition, we'll be putting it on Twitter. Just retweet that bad boy, that old
yeah.
chestnut,
Old chestnut.
and you'll
your
be in
Twitter
with a
handle?
chance to win in 2 weeks' time for our next episode. And we're giving away Devil May Cry 4 for
At
Steam.
Retrograde Show.
At
And
Retrograde
We're
Show,
getting
yeah.
so close to 1,000. Are we going to do something for the 1,000th person? Maybe give
We're
him
going
a
to try and
game.
fit them all in this room. We've
Give-
discussed
give
this.
him- I might give him a game, you know. Maybe, if they're lucky.
But all,
So keep-
all
so-
1,000 of them.
Oh, but now no one's going to follow us. They're all going to wait till it gets to
Exactly,
999.
Jack. You've ruined
that
us.
competition's rigged. Yeah,
got
Yeah,
free
don't
code.
even-
You're not getting nothing.
I can give away a free copy of Texas Hold'em Poker on
Have you got that?
360.
Oh,
Yes.
Let's say we won't do it anymore, but let's secretly do it when we get the 1,000th. But let's pretend that we didn't just say this.
we're going to be back in 2 weeks with the greatest game ever made, Street Fighter 2. Dun, 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 dun. Can't
See,
wait
I'm
for that.
confused as to why even you're saying that, because I know you don't believe it.
Oh, I believe it.
Street Fighter 2?
Street Fighter 2, best game ever made.
What
Can't
happened
wait.
to Doom, best game ever? What?
Well,
Is
I
whatever
changed
game
my-
you're picking for the show
I
the best
changed
game
my
ever?
opinions. It's what I'm in the mood to play, basically.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
Street Fighter 2. So make sure, and we're just to make clear now, we're doing Street Fighter 2, as in not Turbo Warriors or anything like that,
Oh, come
or
on,
like
Jack.
Alpha Crackheads or
Why
whatever
not?
they're
Alpha
called.
Crackheads, that's the best
we're
one.
we're not doing Street Fighter Mega Zero
Smack
Alpha
edition.
Smack Face or anything like that. Yeah, we're not doing that. It's Street Fighter 2 Vanilla. Just the original, where you couldn't even be Vega. You had to like beat him. You couldn't even be Vega in the first one. And we'll save that for the
rubbish.
show. That should have been the trivia section.
Vega was the best one. His music was so good.
No, I got
That was not. That was Pen. Oh, that's Guile. Yeah, that's
It's not going to be hard picking music for that show.
I think the music for that one should be us singing all of the themes a cappella. Personally, yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So make sure you play Street Fighter 2. We'll have a little play. We'll have a little tournament, I think. But the way you all looked at me like, no.
No, we've done that before, and I always lose, so I'm not really enthused about that.
Okay. Well, anyway, so yeah, make sure you join us in 2 weeks for Street Fighter 2. And it's goodbye from me, Jack Marshall. Goodbye from Anthony Hobday.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Mark Toole.
Goodbye.
And a goodbye from James McFadden.
So if you've made it this far, then I am probably addressing specifically you because there's only one of you left. And I'd like to take this moment to just mention that you probably shouldn't get too attached to Mark because he's not in a lot of the episodes. So if you like Mark, then I'm afraid you're out of luck there. Sorry, guys.
Let's rock, baby.